Okay guys, so first thing I want to say is the first part of this video is a little out of focus. I apologize for that. In my 4:30 a.m. super intelligence, I forgot that I was shooting with a Micro Four Thirds camera, which if you know anything about sensor sizes, lets in about half the light roughly of a 35mm sensor. So while it was chasing focus because it didn't have enough light, so basically my camera was chasing focus because it didn't have enough light to focus on me. That's the short version. So my apologies. If you get through the first 5 minutes, it gets much better after that because the sun starts to come up, and you'll see that focusing is not an issue. So while we're waiting on the sun to come up, let me start with this. The number one thing I was sold on about coming to the Philippines was cost of living is lower than it is in the States. Now, here's the thing. It can be. It definitely can be lower. But the problem is, me having never lived in any kind of other area. I stayed a month in Peru a couple years ago. Other than that, I have no real experience living in, I wouldn't call this a third world country, but I'd say it was a developing country. And I like my Western standards, and everything I heard from everybody was, oh, you can get this here, that there for $200-300 a month. You can get whatever you want, 24-hour security, it's all good. Don't stress about it, stuff like that. Just come and you'll see. Groceries are cheap, medications are cheap. That's the biggest lie ever told right there, is medications are cheap. Doctor's visits are cheap, but not medications. So basically, I got here and my initial setup cost was far more than I figured. My plan was to live in and out of hotel rooms. I didn't really plan on getting a condo or an apartment or something like that. That wasn't part of my plan. But that became part of my plan very quickly as I found it necessary to have a place of permanent residence for various reasons. I will say that I was shocked a little because people had told me that they wanted first month, last month, and another month for security deposit. So basically they want 3 months rent up front. And they had said, man, you can negotiate out of that. You can, it ain't that big of a deal. Everything here is negotiable, all that stuff. So I thought I could negotiate my way out of it. I used to be a car salesman. I'm a pretty damn good negotiator. Not in the Philippines. So I tied up about half of my remaining income in first, second, and third month. I was very disappointed, and because of that, coming to the first, full pay cycle month for me, coming to an end right now, in about a week. I'm as broke as I've ever been in America right now. So while the overall cost of living is cheaper, I could have went and lived or stayed in I could have went and lived in a pension house or in a boarding house for that matter. That's just not something I'm willing to do. So my sacrifices, you can't have both. You know what I'm saying? Or you can if you have plenty of money. Cebu would be a wonderful, wonderful city if I had plenty of money, because I could really take advantage of what it has to offer. So what I've learned is it's time to generate some extra income. Lucky for me, I'm a decent photographer and I can probably sell some pictures. So, and there are other options too that I've looked at. We'll just have to see how it goes and what happens and all that stuff. But the most important thing I wanted to share with you guys was cost of living is cheap if you have a cheap cost of living. You know, if you want to come over here and live like you did in the West, forget it. In fact, if you want a Western lifestyle over here, it's probably going to cost you more than it did in America. To be honest, that's just my honest observation. But if you want to come over here and give up some stuff and you know, live a little more minimal, that kind of thing, which I'm learning to do, you can have a decent life on a decent income. People always say, you know, well, what's the minimum I need to live there? What do I need? I mean, how much money do I need a month to stay there? And my response is very simple. I can't tell you what you need. Some people say they make it on $900 a month. I don't know how that happens. I have no idea. Some people say they're making on $1,000, $1,100 a month. I don't know how that happens. Because my income is just a little bit larger than that. Not much, but a little bit. And I'm struggling, but I think I'm struggling mostly because of the situation I chose to put myself into. And now I'm going to get myself out of that situation. So we'll go on to part 2 in just a second. I need to take some pictures of the sunrise. I'm paying about 2,000 pesos a month for 20 megabits down, 20 megabits up. Now, I like the up part of that, but the down part sucks. 20 is not enough. Not if you want to watch anything in, like, you know, real high definition or anything like that. So 2,000 pesos, how much money is that? That's 40 bucks, right? Doesn't seem like much, but start comparing that to your internet in America. And in America, you have far higher speeds than that. It does cost a little more money, but it's also more reliable. And I'm not saying America's internet program rivals that of the 1980 space shuttle program. I'm just saying, you know, it can be much more stable than what it is here. Also, the cost of doing stuff here, the cost of internet here can get outrageously expensive. If you want PLDT or Globe Fiber, for example, it's going to be expensive, really expensive. And you're going to get that unreliable connection, and you're going to get that sometimes it produces the speed that it says it will, and sometimes it does not. I've been very disappointed with the internet. But that's one thing I kept my expectations low on, because I just assumed it was going to be bad. My first trip here, I didn't even buy any kind of internet or anything. I went to an internet cafe and it was so slow I just got up and left, so I assumed it was going to be bad. I've used Globe and PLDT thus far. I have to say that Globe typically has, in my experience with their pocket Wi-Fi, has very good speeds. I can set an IL mall and get 30 megabits down and 9 or 10 up. So that's pretty significant for this country. As far as the upload speed, that's pretty significant for America, because America's upload speeds are not that great unless you buy a package for uploading. The other thing is PLDT. When you get a home, like I live in a condo now, so when they installed that thing, I jacked it into my computer with an RJ45 port. I used a Cat 7 Ethernet cable, which is way more cable than anybody will ever be using in the next 20 years. It gets full speed up and down all the time, but the Wi-Fi is so slow sometimes I can't even watch pictures on Instagram or videos on Instagram stories. So these are things I just want you guys to be aware of. Don't let your expectations exceed your acceptance, because it is far better to be surprised than disappointed. Promise. Number 3. There's a large expat community in the Philippines. They will take care of you. Just get to know a few of them. Now, I met 2 gentlemen. Not sure if I should call their names or not, but it would be good stuff if I did. Put it to you this way, they no longer live in Cebu. And I had the best experience getting to know those guys for a couple weeks. And I think there's a good friendship that came out of that. However, and this is not to say anything about them in any way, form, or fashion. This is just generalizing. You know, in reality, that there are some good, like I have a few, I know I have like 27 subscribers, but a few of them are regular commenters and give me a lot of information, and I appreciate them so much for doing those things, because with the exception of them and the guys I met, the expat community as I know it is a cutthroat, drama-filled, I need to be a little schoolgirl so I can hike my dress up and get my ass spanked kind of community. If I'm wrong, please tell me. Comment below. I would love to meet an expat. And I'm excluding someone. I know he won't care if I say his name, I don't think. I also met a 3rd gentleman, and you guys know him very well, I'm sure. His name is Rod, and he runs the Amazing Philippines channel. And super nice guy, like super nice guy. I need to get up with him again and have lunch, but he was so nice to come out and meet me and answer my questions, you know, and just that one time, that hour, and that was it. Whereas these other 2 guys, they just kind of took me in with them, you know, invited me to everything, and it was great. It was really great. But if you look on social media or YouTube, there is a tremendous amount of hate-filled, inflammatory rhetoric that is good for absolutely nothing. Nothing. And I hope that while I'm here, I see a little change in that. That's my goal. Because if you ever hear me spewing hate like venom or whatever, I want you to comment on it. I want you to tell me, Jeremy, you're acting like a child. Because I'm perfectly capable of doing that. And I will correct myself as needed. But sometimes as individuals, we don't know what's wrong or what's going on with us until somebody points it out. Because you have 2 eyes, you can see me twice as good as I can see myself. That being said, I love the thought, the idea of the companionship with the expat community here. And I'm not in any way degrading the people that are part of it. I'm degrading the way people behave in the online forums and social media and all that stuff. It just seems like we should get together or something, like, you know, hang out here, hang out there, and get to know each other. I mean, what possible harm could come of that? That's what I don't get. But anyway, this is not a gripe session, guys. This is just a reality versus expectations. That's all. Expectation. When you get here, transportation will be cheap. Now, there's some truth to that. But the way people make it sounds like, you know, it's just going to be dirt cheap and you can ride cabs and whatever else you want to, and you're never going to fill it in your pocketbook. However, let's say you take a cab twice a day, mile and a half, and it's not in traffic, because if it's in traffic, that mile and a half is going to take you 14 times as long, and I'm not exaggerating. And they're metered, okay? Just like cabs in America. So what happens is you take a 100, let's say 200 peso ride. Okay, 200 pesos is $4. So you need to do that to get to your destination. So you got to take it in home. So you got to take it 3 times. That's $12. And you're running that routine basically every day. You're looking at well over, my math is terrible, but you're looking at well over $300 a month. Because if it was $10 a day, then you would be $300 a month. But you're looking at well over $300 a month just in transportation costs. And if you're living here as a retiree or someone on a fixed income or something like that, that can get very expensive very quickly. Now there's this thing called My Bus. I haven't checked into it a whole lot, but I can tell you that it only has a few stops. If you're going to where it's going, it's cheap, very cheap, to get where you need to go. We also have the motorbikes here in Cebu. They're a little cheaper. Most of them just want to give you a hard time about price. I don't know. I have one motorbike driver. I have his number. When I need him to take a motorbike somewhere, I call him. If I need to go spend the day shooting somewhere, I call him, and his name's Benji, and I say, Benji, I give you 500, 1,000, 1,500 pesos for the whole day. Can you meet me tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock? Yes, Jeremy. Yes, Mr. Jeremy. Yes. So that's one way to do it, is to work out a relationship with some of these drivers. But travel is not cheap. It's just less expensive than what it is in America, because in America, a mile and a half cab ride in, like, let's say New York or something would probably cost you, I have no idea, probably something stupid between probably around 20 bucks minimum, if not more. If you guys know how much they cost, comment below, because I really don't. And there are the ferries if you need to go long distances. That is the cheaper way to go than fly. That's relatively inexpensive for transportation. However, you're giving up the one thing you can never ever get back, and that's time. Not trying to be dramatic, just saying. You know, you're putting a lot of, not wasting a lot of time, but you're spending a lot of time on a boat. Whereas if you just flew in, you'd have that much more time. I always kid with people when they do something I don't like, and I'm like, you know, or they do something that's kind of pointless to me. I just tell them, you know, that's thank you for taking 5 minutes of my life that I'll never get back. That's part of my sense of humor too. So anyway, be wary of your transportation if you're going to live here. Make a budget. I've had to do that, make a budget and stick to it. You know, the past 2 weeks I have walked just about everywhere. I literally walked from Cebu to basically Mandawi City. When I say basically, like one of my subscribers said I hadn't quite made it there yet. But you know, I was pretty close. I was pretty close, and I believe him. I'm just saying I was pretty close. So, but you do things like that because you have to and because you love what you do, and you're glad you're here, and you find gratitude when there shouldn't be any. So that's just my thoughts, guys. I might have another expectation. I don't know. Quick side note, guys, for all my friends in America. So I just wanted to let my friends know that I'm praying for you, but not only you, your families, because I know many of you have families in the Florida area, Florida Panhandle, Dominican Republic, all down in the Puerto Rico, definitely Puerto Rico. So, you know, I really hope and pray that your family has made it to safety already and is out of the path of this storm. But just know that my thoughts and prayers are with all of you. I would list off all your names, but that would probably take up my entire blog. And if any of you need anything, same number, same phone. Okay, so let's talk about some of the good stuff in the Philippines. One, this is about as stress-free living as it gets. These people, they're so non-stressed. When they walk through a mall, they just stop in the middle of where everybody else is walking and don't even look, just start walking backwards, like, you know, nobody's there, which I find rather annoying. But it's because of the stress-free life. And I have to tell you that getting things done here has not been very difficult thus far, with the exception of one thing. But overall, I'm impressed with just the general quality of life that these people have. So that's a beautiful thing. Second, I'm not really much of a woman chaser. If something comes along, I'm good with that. But there are ample amounts of single women here looking to date anybody, but a large percentage of them are looking to date foreigners of some kind. So there's no shortage of women to date. The problem is meeting those women. If you live in Cebu, you have access to go and do whatever you want to, just about whenever you want to. There's an airport one island over. The ferries that will take you to Bohol or Manila or wherever are just across the way right there. So the ease of life in general is not bad. It's not bad at all. And I hope that I can take more advantage of that. And I think I will. Oh yeah, and the cost of living is lower. It is lower. It's just not lower for me because I didn't use my head. That's the difference. One more positive thing to note about the Philippines. The expectation for me was the food's going to be bad, the service is going to be bad, the condos are going to be terrible, you know, they're going to be in rundown condition. Thus far, none of that has been true. The food has been excellent. The food prices are excellent. And the condo that I live in is really a very nice condo. I mean, it's not like, you know, I'm not paying, you know, $1.5 million pesos or anything, but it's a good condo. They have 24-hour security. Have a cafe downstairs, open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. with reasonable prices. Have a laundry service in-house, a massage service in-house, and cabs run by here all the time. So, you know, that has been a positive experience for me. And next month is going to be better because I'm going to be prepared. And guys, I appreciate you watching this video. If you like what you see, subscribe so you can keep up with me, because you just never know what my crazy ass is gonna do. And always comment below if I say anything stupid, or if you just want to say something stupid. Later, guys.